2025, what's going to happen? What do we think is going to freaking blow up in the entertainment industry for this upcoming year? Man, oh man, there's a lot. There's a lot to
Oh
think
boy.
about because there's so many different things. I mean, my first one that I really think might happen and probably will happen because everybody who is affiliated with this person, more big names coming out in the Diddy trial. Like, I
Mm.
mean, we've already had the example of Jay-Z being accused of raping the underage girl back in 2000. I think Jay-Z is just like the I mean, I think he's just the beginning. I think there's going to be so many more people coming out
Yes.
because we've seen like I I like them as people and I love their content, but I mean, we know that Ashton Kutcher and Emilio Cunes were really close to Diddy. They would go to a lot of parties, and they're already affiliated and got backlash over the Danny Masterson stuff. So that would be very interesting.
Yeah.
But they're staying quiet right now. You know, they're trying to maintain their careers to make sure they're still able to work. But yeah, I definitely think more big names like that, like an Ellen. Ellen was really tight with Diddy. I like, so many people who I guess came out around the Me Too movement that were bad people, that people who knew about things and didn't disclose things. I think that's going to definitely happen in 2025.
I would agree with you. And I think some of them are going to be shocking to people. I think some of
Yeah.
them are going to be like breaking hearts, think going no way, that can't possibly, but I think so. I think so, and that when that trial starts, it's gonna get real interesting real fast. And yeah, I'm right there with you. I think that's a green check mark waiting to happen. I agree with you. Let me just play. I'm just gonna start off with a big stretch on mine right from the get go. It's long been rumored that David Zaslav just does not want Warner Brothers Pictures. He bought Warner Brothers to merge to get the streaming. He wanted a streamer and he wanted to expand Discovery and get his content out there. And it's long been rumored that he's just not a fan of Warner Brothers Pictures. You saw how awful he runs it, is shelving movies, pissing off creators, losing, people. So I'm predicting. Now, I think this is the best move for him to be profitable. And we all know David Zaslav likes profit. So there's rumors that he wants to sell off and have it just break it off, and whoever buys it, sell off the content. The library goes a little bit here, a little bit there, whatever, and basically Warner Brothers Pictures fails to exist anymore after 100 plus years. Gone. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm predicting that David Zaslav will spin off Warner Brothers Pictures into a standalone company to which they would still own, but it would be a standalone company. If you're not familiar with how corporations work and how all that is, I don't want to go way into detail on that, but look up what it means when a company spins off something that they own into a separate entity. I think this is the move that Zaslav will make in 2024. And we all know that Lionsgate has been searching for an owner. They have been trying to sell Lionsgate forever. And I'm predicting Lionsgate will finally find a buyer, and that buyer will be Warner Brothers Pictures once it is spun off into a separate entity, and that Lionsgate library will merge with the Warner Brothers Picture library and be kick-ass, and you'll see a slight resurgence of Warner Brothers Pictures away from Discovery. It'll be like a studio again, not this wrapped up. I mean, for God's sake, guys, he just said that he was going to promote Warner Brothers movies, including Superman, during the Puppy Bowl. Everybody loves puppies. That's awesome. It usually gets huge ratings, but is that the place to promote your summer blockbuster movie? I'm not so sure. So they need that separation between his Discovery and Warner Brothers Pictures, and I think that's going to happen. Zaslav will spin off Warner Brothers into a separate entity, and they will acquire Lionsgate. Boom! There it is.
Boom. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we'll see. We're correlated but in different realms. We're correlated but in different realms. I'm Saturn and you're Uranus. So the next one I have with 2025, I definitely think the box office is coming back, and I think it's going to be the biggest box office in the past decade. I think, with all of these movies that we have coming out. I mean, you're talking Avatar, you're talking Wicked Part 2, you're talking Jurassic World Rebirth, you're talking all the Marvel movies that are coming out. You
Yeah.
got Superman, you got all of these different things. I definitely think that this is going to be the biggest box office in the last decade. So I'm very excited about that. Like I said at the very beginning of the show, I think, this year is going to help the entertainment industry get back to where it once was, and to where we can start having money flowing again, having studios that aren't afraid to take chances because they don't have money. And so, which in turn, which means less sequels, more original ideas. And I think this year is the way to do that because there's so much beloved IP coming out this year. I think it's really going to help at least start to get us back into the black instead of the red.
Yeah, I would agree with that wholeheartedly, and it will play into my next prediction as well. But I'm right there with you. Disney, since Iger's return, did recapture the box office crown, and they had a big year. They cracked several $billion at the box office in 2024. You just named look. Avatar's a Disney movie. Like all the Marvel movies are Disney movies. Disney's got its own supposed blockbusters that they're hoping are going to hit. I think Disney is going to have a massive year in 2025. I'm right there with you. And I think, and playing into this, it will be the perfect way to send Iger out on his swan song. It'll be going out on top, because here it is. I do think Iger will walk away when he is supposed to walk away at the end of 2025. And I am going on. Here is my prediction. I do predict that Dana Walden will officially be named Bob Iger's successor at some point early this year. She will begin going under his wing and start training to properly take over. The succession will be the right way this time. And she will become the first female CEO in Disney's 100-plus year history. About damn time. I think she is the right person to do it. I think she's going to be brilliant in the role. I think Iger taking her under and kind of guiding her until his exit is the right strategy. And yeah, I think Disney's going to have a massive year both with their streamer and the box office, and I think that succession plan is gonna just boom. And I think we'll see Iger finally ride off into the sunset, write his second book, and say, "See you later." So there it is. Dana Walden will officially be named the next CEO of Disney.
Love to hear it, man. Love to hear it. It would be absolutely historic and iconic if that were to happen.
Oh,
I
without
would
doubt.
love to see that. Something else that I would love to see is the movie theaters experimenting with their experiences. I definitely feel like the movie theaters have had a rough couple of years, obviously, being shut down for the pandemic and not really having big blockbusters to compete against each other for the past couple of years. It wasn't honestly until 2024 to where we had like two big movies opening in the same weekend.
Right.
So, I mean, we finally got back to that. But I do think that movie theater chains are going to try to make it more of an experience. And what I mean by that is having more extracurricular activities that lead up to the movies. Obviously, the dinner and a movie thing have always been a niche concept that some movie theaters do and some movie theaters don't. But I think we're going to start seeing more of that, more experiences, more alcohol. I mean, as we see now, like my local theater, freaking, they sell wine, they sell daiquiris,
Yeah.
they sell all kinds of stuff. But I would honestly love to see the resurgence of the arcade room, because there's still arcade rooms in the cineplexes. But I think, bringing the kids back to see that and play while they're waiting for their film, I think that would be awesome. I think it'd be really cool to see the movie theaters on opening night, not Thursday, have it be Friday because you have to start it off on the weekend. Have like their own little red carpet experience. I think that would be so cool where they could just, come, pay like $5, get on the red carpet with maybe like a backdrop of the movie they're going to go see, the big movie that's opening the weekend, get their picture in front and, just have a little extra something rather than just paying that amount to go see the film and then go home. Have it be more of an experience. Have them actually hang out there a little bit before going into the movie theater. They're trying out these different experiments in different cineplexes around the country. So I would like to see more of that. I think we will see more of that. And I mean, studios have their own little pop up things like Netflix. They have their own little pop up world of experience like Stranger Things and Bridgerton and all of these different iconic IPs that they've established throughout the years. So I think most more cineplexes are going to have to work with studios to get this to happen, but I would love to see that happen. More of a movie theater experience rather than just going to a movie and going home.
Yeah, I think that if you're gonna keep cineplexes, if you're gonna keep the multiplexes with all the screens and all the things, I think it has to happen. And here's why. Because it falls into my prediction, my next prediction. And that's because you're going to need a reason other than the movie to go to the movie theater. Why am I saying that? Because I predict that the theatrical windows for films will continue to decrease beyond what they already have. And as you guys know, it is getting crazy bad. If you blink, you miss a movie at the theater, okay? For example, right now, Wicked, which is one of the highest grossing films still at the box office. It's like back and forth as number one, number two in the box office every week, right? Since it's been released, is available to stream at home. But it's still in the box office. And it's not on its last leg at the box office. It hasn't been out for like 3 or 4 months and people are still trailing to see it. So it's still dominating the box office, but you can stay at home and watch it. So the windows just keep shrinking. I mean, it used to be a year, then it was like 6 months, and then this whole streaming thing started and it became 60 days, and then it was 45 days, and now literally it feels like they come out for their opening weekend and with the next weekend they're available on a streamer and to rent or buy. And it's like, what are we doing, guys? Why are we even still putting them in and then you see the executives come out and say, well, it underperformed at the box office. Well, no shit, because you had it at home to stream. Like, of course it underperformed. So it plays into what you said. If you're not going to give people an experience to go see it at the box office, they're going to stay home and watch it. So I think it plays right into what you said. Have something else be a part of what they do to go see that movie. It's something to entice them to see it as opposed to just sitting home. But I do think it is my sincerest prediction that the theatrical window will continue to decrease. And you're likely, because they've already done this the past couple of years with certain movies, I think you're going to see same-day releases. You're going to see it release on streamer and in the box office on the same day. And in my opinion, I think that's a huge mistake. But I think that's where we're headed, and so that's my prediction.
There it is, man. There it is. Well, like you, I mean, we both pay attention to the entertainment industry, obviously. So, like you, I do think Lionsgate is going to find a buyer this year. I don't know who, but what I would really like to see, because Skydance really opened up my eyes and the possibility of like these smaller companies coming in and being able to buy this. So I would really like to see A24 buy Lionsgate or merge with Lionsgate, because you have the new talked about, completely out there, completely different than anything else, A24 merging or buying up the classic beloved content that everybody knows, everybody loves. And I just think these two together would definitely be, it would be past and future, and or past and present, and then together they could possibly make the future. I think it would be very interesting to see. My official prediction is Lionsgate finds a buyer. That's my official prediction.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
I would love for it to be A24 or like Neon or, one of these smaller production houses that are making a name for themselves in the entertainment industry. They're the type of films that you cannot ignore. You can't, because they're being shown anywhere and everywhere, and people are talking about them. They're generating buzz, and they don't have the freaking mass studios behind them. They don't have the huge budget of marketing behind them like some of these other films do. So I would love to see that happen. So yeah, my fourth prediction, just Lionsgate selling, hashtag, comma, semicolon, whatever you want to say, hopefully to A24. But
It's
yeah,
an interesting theory because, it's a studio and it's a mini. It's not a major, it's a mini, but it is a studio. So the
it is.
idea of merging with a production company
Yeah,
is very, and not being acquired by another studio, but a production company and a studio merging is an interesting concept. I think
it is.
that's I there's several that I think would be a good fit if that is the route that happens. Obviously with my other prediction, I agree with you. I do think Lionsgate will sell. They will find a buyer. I think it's going to be Warner Brothers, but I don't know. But I like the idea. That's an interesting concept. You know who would be interesting? I'm just going to put this out there. An interesting buyer for Lionsgate would be Municipal.
Yeah,
Because Mark
Mark
Wahlberg
Wahlberg.
has said it
Yeah,
from day one, his goal was to make movies, start to produce movies, have a production company, become a studio, a full-fledged studio, and then produce other people's movies. And if he were to merge and or acquire Lionsgate, now he's got the studio. So that would be
true.
interesting. And I feel like he's a good fit because Lionsgate puts out the John Wick movies. They have a lot of like action oriented those type movies.
Hmm.
Municipal Mark Wahlberg, that just seems like a no-brainer, right?
Right.
And he's trying to establish the industry in Vegas. So, boom. I like it, bro. I like the idea. We have no idea, obviously. We just both agree that Lionsgate will sell. They'll find a buyer. But, yeah, interesting thoughts on that one. That's good. I think, okay, my number 4. I think that we started to see this. We started to see this in 2024, maybe a little bit before 2024, but I think we're going to continue to see it on a much broader level. And we started to see it because of dumb fucks like Zaslav just fucking things up. That's really why we started to see it. But I am predicting that we will see more A-list creators become exclusive to studios. We're not going to go back to the golden age where they're contract player and they only make movies, for this studio. But I do think that but when I say exclusive to the studio, that studio will always have the first crack at anything they develop. Obviously, we saw that with Christopher Nolan after Zaslav fucked it up with Warner Brothers. He jumped over to Universal. We saw Jordan Peele, with Universal. Speaking of John Wick, we saw Chad Stahelski, or I think that's how you say his name, Stahelski, the creator of the John Wicks, sign the exclusive deal at Lionsgate. And then in 2025, we've already seen one of these moves where Ryan Reynolds just signed an exclusive deal with Paramount. So, to become...
And Glenn Powell.
And
Yeah.
Glenn Powell, yep. And, of course, Margot Robbie last year towards the back end with Warner Brothers. So I think we're going to see more of that. I think that these big A-list creators with their production companies are going to go, which studio and or studio head do I feel most comfortable with, where I'll get the most leeway, and that's where I'm going to park my banner, and that's where I'm going to create my stuff. I think we're going to see a big resurgence of that, and we're going to see a lot of it happen in 2025. So keep your eyes out, because I think every couple months on this very podcast, we're going to be announcing such and such signed an exclusive deal with such and such. I think that's going to happen. I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, completely agree, man. It's going to be very freaking interesting. And then my fifth and final one, I mean, it was the top of yours, but I wanted to make it my last one, and it is Warner Brothers sales or merges begin to happen. Towards the end of the year, Warner Brothers did go up a teeny tiny little bit. Tom and Jerry, teeny tiny little bit, in stock prices, but it's still very vulnerable for a hostile takeover. And I'm honestly surprised it hasn't happened yet, because like it's right there. It's right there for the taking, but it just, like I said, hasn't happened. But yeah, I do think because they got to make something happen. Okay, I think they're putting all their eggs, all their chips on black with DC Studios. They're hoping that can freaking right the ship, but I don't think it has enough girth to do that because Warner Brothers, being the historic studio, like they have so many different IP and so many different content that they could be putting out there, but I think they're relying so heavily on DC Studios to do that, and I don't think that's the right way. If you look over at their counterpart Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, Disney projects, Pixar, like they have so many things coming out. 20th Century Fox, like I just Warner Brothers does not have the right leadership, and I don't think that's going to help it go anywhere for the foreseeable future unless sales or mergers will happen. I'm hoping, and my prediction is a merger or sale that eliminates Zaslav. Complete, like where he doesn't have control. That's what I am hoping. That's what I'm predicting. Hopefully, man, because we like Warner Brothers. Even though obviously we're Disney guys, we love classic Hollywood. We love the story behind the Warner Brothers. So I want to see it succeed. I don't want it torn apart and ripped to shreds like MGM. I want it to succeed. So hopefully in 2025, a sale or merger happens to where Zaslav can be pushed out. So,
Yeah, no, I totally, obviously, like with my own prediction, I think that's true. The thing that I think is that Zaslav is a money guy. But I think at some point somebody's finally going to make him realize he's not a movie guy, which is why I said I think spin-off more than sale, because he can step away from Warner Brothers Pictures but still collect the profit if whoever does take Warner Brothers Pictures turns it back to what we expect Warner Brothers Pictures to be. And I think he's too vain to walk away from the potential profit of Warner Brothers Pictures. But he's clearly not the guy that should be running anything to do with Warner. And I'll just say, like what you just said, they make this announcement basically that they're putting all the money, all the eggs in the basket of DC, and then they make questionable decisions. Penguin was the most popular thing that came out of DC this year, rocking and rolling, the Golden Globe nominations, and just it's likely to win Emmys, and it's just killing it. And then instead of powering through with that world and continuing on, they delay Matt Reeves' Batman 2. They say it's not going to happen when they don't continue with another series from that world. It's just, you say that's your emphasis, but then you make questionable decisions with that content. And that's why I'm worried about it. It's like, I'm with you. I don't think Zaslav should be anywhere near Warner Brothers Pictures or anything that Warner Brothers Pictures owns. So just like,
I think we can both agree that Penguin was the sleeper of the year.
Oh,
we knew
without
it was
doubt.
be good,
Yeah.
But I didn't know it was going to have a mass audience like it did.
Yeah.
So I think that definitely won the sleeper of 2024.
Agreed, wholeheartedly. And which normal people would see that and go, let's capitalize. But apparently Zaslav's asleep at the wheel, and James Gunn agreed with him, which I'm shocked by. But I think James Gunn's ego, unfortunately, is getting in the way, and he's like focused on his Superman and his Supergirl and his.
It'll be interesting to see, like, how he is just after the first release of, Superman. So it'll be interesting to see.
It's just, I don't know. All right, my final prediction, my number 5. Because I kind of teased this. I love Ellison. I'm with you. I love Skydance. I think this was the right buyer for Paramount. He loves Paramount Pictures. He's going to maintain Paramount Pictures. He's going to restore that studio to its glory from back in the day. I wholeheartedly believe that. He is not a fan of Paramount Plus. He doesn't think it's worth it. It is one of the streamers that is still not profitable and is struggling to find the profit. And he's not a fan. He's made that clear. I think this is what's going to happen. I think that Paramount Plus will be shut down by David Ellison, and that content will fold either back into CBS, which could be potentially dangerous because there's some massive shows that are really popular on Paramount Plus. But as you know, when you get onto a network, if you don't have the ratings right away, you probably don't survive, which could be dangerous for these hit shows. Although they are seeing some success with like showing Yellowstone and Landman and stuff on CBS. And maybe this is a teaser. Maybe it's a prep of, can we roll these things over to CBS and be okay? But I do think that's going to happen. Or more likely, instead of rolling all of it to CBS, the really profitable shows and the really popular shows will be licensed to other streamers. You'll probably see anything Taylor Sheridan licensed to like Netflix, or much like Sony does, right? Because Sony doesn't have a streamer, so let's do all of our content there. I do think this is going to happen, though. I don't think that there's an argument that Ellison would take to save Plus. I just think he's not on board. So he's all about money and obviously restructuring and making it the studio profitable. And he just doesn't see a path with Paramount Plus. So there you go. I think we will see the end of Paramount Plus, which I'm devastated by because I love damn near every show on there. But I'm not worried because I'm confident on the back half of that prediction I will see those shows end up somewhere else. So you can't tell me they're going to get rid of all of Taylor Sheridan's shit. That's like pop culture royalty at this point. Everybody watches all that stuff. So it will end up on another streamer, and Paramount will make money by licensing it to other streamers. So it's just makes sense.
Yeah, I kind of hope they do because the licensing game kind of has taken a step back and is on the back burner for a lot of these studios when it comes to television and movies, to be fact. So I just feel like studios need to take advantage of licensing more than they already do.
For sure.
And I think it'll help their budgets. It'll help their bottom line a lot more. So yeah, man, it's going to be very interesting. I think we should start every episode, not every episode, but every first episode back of the new year like this, with a box office draft and our predictions, because it sets the tone of what's going to happen in the entertainment industry when we talk about certain events that are happening on the trades. So it's going to be very freaking exciting, man, and I cannot wait to see what happens this year because there's a lot to unfold.